A core concept behind network design and the security within it is zones. Zones are a way to group areas of a network or a type of activity that have certain requirements applied to it for all connectivity. For example, the Internet Zone. Of all zones that we'll discuss, the Internet Zone is by far the most dangerous for your organization's assets. Connecting devices directly to the Internet unprotected should be avoided unless you want them to be exploited on purpose, such as to research attack methods used against the asset to develop defenses against them. For a majority of organizations, the Internet Zone is highly protected against via tight restrictions on the configuration of devices that have direct connectivity to the Internet, minimizing the number of devices that do have direct connectivity to the Internet, and putting up multiple security barriers that must be passed to connect to those devices, such as firewalls, intrusion detection and prevention systems, etc. The area I'm referring to is also a zone itself, specifically called the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ for short. The zone is named after the DMZ between North Korea and South Korea, as it is a good example of what a network DMZ is trying to accomplish, since there are two opposing forces with a buffer between them to protect each side from each other, with the buffer zone being used to allow for interactions to occur peacefully. If things turn sour, then there are still significant security forces and barriers in place to contain the issue, such as the network DMZ is designed to do. Most organizations have a DMZ where the assets I mentioned earlier logically sit, so that they act as a buffer between the Internet Zone and the internal network, or intranet, as the intranet is typically the most sensitive in nature and holds the data that attackers are typically after. Intranets are typically harder for organizations to secure, given the significant potential technical debt in legacy applications to align to structured security requirements, such as network segmentation internally that is deep enough to actually provide risk reduction from successful attacks. The last zone we'll discuss is the extranet zone. An extranet is a special network zone that an organization has, typically within the overall DMZ, which is used for connectivity with third parties such as vendors and other business partners. The requirements for this zone can range significantly between organizations and industries, but the goal is to develop a location where these third-party types would connect to for increased connectivity within your organization's network zones, so that you can apply consistent security requirements upon that zone.